when the big timber barges stopped coming. That was very, very sad. And there were various suggestions about what should happen. And I remember there was quite a beano at Camden Lock. They had some kind of, somebody crossed the lock on a high wire. There was a kind of party that I didn't approve because I thought it was downgrading the canal. I felt the canal has great dignity, and it was made by people with shovels. It was real muscle power that made those. It wasn't just dug out with a machine. It was men with shovels that dug that thing, and it is very beautifully designed and carried out. All the working bits are impressive. It has dignity, and I felt that the kind of things that they do, or they were doing, were reducing its dignity. I didn't like that. I've had great respect for not only for the canal and how it worked, but the people who dug it, and the people. It was a brilliant piece of design. They were so clever. They really were. It was so useful. It brought in all the building materials, which really did the expansion of London to the north.
I know that you were involved in the Regent's Canal Group. Could you
Yes.
tell us a bit about what the group did?
Well, it was St Pancras in those days. Camden Town was St Pancras, before Camden was made out of 3 boroughs. And a civic society had been created by people who were worried about things that were happening. All sorts of really rather drastic changes were taking place, which were not always very happy changes. And a group of people got together to form a civic society, and I was on the committee of this society from the beginning. And on one Sunday in, I think, 1965, there was an article in the Times, and it was called Across St Pancras by Punt. And it described the journey made in a punt by 2 young men who kept their punt in the basin just by the zoo. It's called Cumberland Basin. It wasn't a real Cumberland Basin because that was further down the canal, which had been filled in during the war, but they called it the Cumberland Basin. So having read this article by the man was called Lewis Braithwaite, and he was a civil engineer and obviously knew about canals. And I took this article along to a meeting, a committee meeting of the Civic Society, and said, we must do something about this, because this man is saying that the canal is totally neglected, nobody cares a fig about it, and what it could be and what it should be. So another member of the committee, called John Hulton, and I decided that we would walk along the canal. We got maps from the council. They kindly gave us some maps, and we walked along the canal, and we noted what went on either bank. We made notes of what was going on, and it was pretty derelict, I must say. It was not in good condition, because of course there had been a war, and a lot of things had been damaged and had not necessarily been rebuilt at that time. So there was a lot of damage and a lot of dereliction. And we thought that we ought to combine with any other amenity societies to promote the resuscitation of the canal. And we tied up with the Islington Society and the Paddington Waterways Society. Later we were joined by the Hackney Society, which I think didn't exist at the beginning, and finally the Tower Hamlets Society.
What was your committee called?
The combined mixture of all these local things we called the Regent's Canal Group, and we tried to drag in everybody alongside the canal from Paddington down to the Thames, all the amenity societies along the whole stretch of the Regent's Canal. And we got them, and we got in the end the IWA joined us as well, and also the London Industrial Archaeological Society. They joined us, so we had quite a gang.